Hello you guys and welcome in. So today, my dear friends, I'm going to be talking about taking my practical exam for cosmetology in California in 2020 during the pandemic in December. This video is like a broad description of what goes on in there, how to prepare best for the exam, and how to succeed. I took my practical exam on Friday, December 5th. And I took my written test on a different day, on Monday. You can't separate two parts of your exam and take them on another day. I took the written in Sacramento and I took the practical in Fairfield. I'm gonna just go over what the practical test consists of. So your test starts with the work area and client preparation and setup of supplies. Then you go into thermal curling, hair cutting, your second client, then you go into chemical waving, your predisposition test and strength test, then you're doing highlighting with foil, virgin application with colored simulated product, and hair color retouch. Then you go to virgin hair relaxer application, and then you do blood exposure procedure, basic facial after that, sculptured nail. So this is what it consists of. I went to the school which is very good with getting you ready for the practical exam. We have state board exam practices twice a week, and they're called baby boards. Sometimes they're also called mock boards. A lot of the schools don't offer that, and I honestly don't know how the students can pass that test without having that practice before they go in. I think it will cause a lot of anxiety. I would really recommend everybody to stay in the hotel or somewhere else in like the night before the exam, because you have to wake up at 4 in the morning that day, and unless you're very good with packing everything and doing everything, it's just an extra added stress to your day, I guess, if you drive right before the exam. I arrived in the hotel that night and I took all of my testing supplies with me, the one that I use for my baby boards, and I practiced, especially the hardest part of my exam, which were the hardest for me. My principal recommended to put some mousse on the front section here for the thermal curling, because that will ensure that your curls stay in much better. So I did that to prep my doll head. And so I also practiced thermal curling until 12 at night that night. I rented my kit from a company because I was using my personal kit up to the day of the exam. So in order for me to use my personal supplies, I would need to have a bag that looks just as discreet as the ones that they give at RentAKid. And I, for some reason, screwed up twice and ordered 2 bags on Amazon. One was too small, one was too big, and so I just left that idea and just decided to rent a kit. And they have the color simulated product, the lightener and the relaxer of different colors and consistencies. We were using something like a base cream in our school, which was not color coded, so I didn't want to risk it. I just used their kit. Plus, you cannot take your exam in case if some of your supplies are missing. I brought my own doll head and my own doll stand. My doll stand I will probably link in the description below. It's from Amazon, but it's excellent quality. I had no issues with it, and so I wanted to have my own doll stand because I knew that the ones that they give at State Board may be shaky, and believe me, that's an extra struggle. So my doll head was pre-cut to 7 inches, I think. You are allowed to take the doll that is 6 inches in all places. However, I didn't want to risk it, so my doll was a little bit longer. My weakest point was haircut, because I could never get it done on time, so my principal recommended that I don't follow all the rules so specifically. You don't cut past your second knuckle and palm your shears, don't focus on that as much as finishing your haircut on time. So I also practiced my haircut before going in, watching YouTube videos, practicing on the doll head. So yeah, just work on the areas of practical exams that you know are troublesome for you. Mine were thermal curling because it's like the first thing that you do, and I wanted to be confident when I begin. Honestly, when I walked in that room, all of those rules kind of like got foggy in my head. So whatever you knew before the exam, if you are anxious, it might not just naturally come to you. So you are supposed to show up at RentAKid Company at 5:30 a.m. to see what you're given in the supply kit and for them to do the demo of all the supplies that you're gonna get. I did buy my manicure hand from them because I did my own, but it seemed like theirs was better. But of course, you're welcome to bring your own hand as well. I've heard that some people's nails weren't glued as well on the RentAKid Company's hands, so you might want to get your own. I had a backup hand with my own nails and everything else in case if I didn't like the hand that they were giving me. Now, the location of the examination and the RentAKid Company is close by. It's on the same campus, and it's very, very dark when you arrive there if you're doing it in that time of the year, December, but pretty much at any time it's gonna be dark. And the name of the place is very small and it's very hard to find. So just give yourself an extra time to drive from the hotel or from wherever you're coming from to that place, just to give yourself time to circle around and find it. You walk in and you're seated on the carpet with a group of 4 girls, and the girl that was giving the demo for the kit was super nice. She also took Cosmo exams, so she had some good pointers, and it was very calming to just kind of have that demo and see other girls that are taking the same exam as you are. So we sit on the carpet and we open our bag, and she gives us a few advice on how to pass the exam. She says that your rolling table might be on the wrong side of the station, so put it on the other side and place your doll stand with your doll head next to the mirror, which was a good pointer because I probably would have been so nervous that I would have never done that. My table, when I arrived on the exam location, my station was already set up in a proper manner, so I didn't really have to do that. Then she also tells you to get out your disinfectant and clean everything, including behind your book and including your stool that is kind of deep down in there. I will be honest with you, I did remember that advice, but when I got to the exam room, my chair was so deeply in there that it was so inconvenient for me to even get it out that I didn't sanitize my stool because it was just extra struggle. And then you open the kit and there are your trash bags that she says are labeled on all 4 sides. I have a feeling that my sewed linens did not have a label on one of the sides, and that's exactly the side that it was pointed towards, so I'm not exactly sure if the examiner knows that it wasn't like my fault, but I should have turned it around. If I were to do it again, I would have, and I'm not sure if she took the points off for it or not. Then you have your universal supply kit bag, but you don't have one bag. You have this small Ziploc bag that just has a tiny hand sanitizer with a push cap, and then you also have a disinfectant bottle, which is also really tiny, and then your water bottle is in the side pocket. You test your water bottle. I tested mine, it worked fine during the demo, but when I got to the exam it started leaking on the floor really bad, and I tried to adjust the nozzle and for some reason it just kept on leaking, so I had to get my SMAs out and clean the floors. If I were to do it again, I would definitely bring my own water bottle, the one that you use for all of your haircuts. Use what you are used to use, basically. The reason why I didn't put my own water bottle in there is because I felt like it would bring the attention to me, and I wanted just to blend in and kind of look like everybody else and didn't look special with my special fancy bottle. Yeah, so that's your universal supply box, and it has gloves. Gloves are also, I think, separate, and SMA is also separate, so everything is separate. There isn't like a big bag of universal supplies. Because the water bottle is in that side pocket, you are not like collected when you are getting your universal supplies out. Plus you have to remember to put on gloves before you do anything else, and before you touch your disinfectant you have to sanitize your hands, and before you put anything out you also have to sanitize all the areas. So because you have to remember so much at the very beginning, it's kind of overwhelming. Then she shows us the client one bag, and it has razor, shears, the clips and all that stuff. I brought my own bag to the RentAKid company because my principal said that I might not have enough time to actually add that stuff to my kit. So I already had my own shears, my own razor, my own combs, a couple of clips, a couple of SMAs, couple of facial tissues, gloves, you know, just whatever you think you might really need. And so I replaced my shears and razors right there and then. They can also exchange your left-handed or right-handed shears. By definition, I think they put right-handed stuff in there, but you can tell them and they will change it to the left-handed stuff for you. So there's client one bag. It does not include towels. The cape that you get, you don't get a towel for that. You get like a makeup hair terry cloth band that you can use around the neck of the mannequin, which was very convenient to use, and I had no problems with my capes, which was really good. But the fact that the 2 bags of towels are just on the bottom and they're not added to client 1, client 2 nail and facial bag was kind of confusing to me as well. I don't know why they wouldn't just make big bags that would fit everything in. So she shows the Klein 2 bag. It has about 6 brushes, which was plenty of brushes for all the procedures, which was good. It did not have any duckbill clips that I usually use to hold the hair in place for the lightening and to hold the SMA in place for the relaxer. So I added a couple of clips in that bag. They ask if you want a Marcel or a regular, so I opted out to have the regular. It's about 3/4 of an inch barrel. They do have just one Sanex strip in there, so just don't drop it on the floor, don't do anything with it. In case if you did, just use a paper towel, or you can bring another Sanex strip with you to add to that first kit in case if you're worried that one will fall on the floor or something. After the Klein 2 bag, they show you your nail kit, which includes all of the nail stuff that you won't need, like a red nail polish and cuticle oil, and they give it to you because it's basically like the examiner is gonna read to you the instructions and you need to know that you aren't supposed to use it or paint your nail. All you're supposed to do is do a sculpture nail. It's basically to confuse you. So just get it out of the bag when you're setting up for nails. Don't use it and just dispose of it at the end. That's all you're supposed to do with that red nail polish, clear nail polish, cuticle remover, and I think there was something else towards that kit. And then there's the facial kit. So your facial kit includes your facial doll, and you just have like a plastic cap to put around your doll head, and all of the small bottles of stuff that have a push cap as well. That's about it for the kit. Then she told me like I have to rush after the demo because they're gonna be starting the exam soon. So I rushed to the building. We were pretty much the first in line to get in. We got in the building and they're checking my paperwork when my phone rings. And I die when my phone starts to ring because I was so nervous and the whole day was so hectic that I thought for some reason maybe that when I go to the bathroom I would give it back to my husband or would come out right after or something. But I guess it was a good thing that he called me to remind me that my phone was still in my pocket. He just did it at the wrong time when all 3 examiners were in the room and the lady was accepting my paperwork. One more thing about the kit is that the doll stand needs to be in a case of some sort because mine was my own. I did not bring a case for it. In that case, just keep it in between your handles of the black bag so that at least it's not touching the floor until you get there and you set up. Okay, so I go outside to give the phone to my husband, but At that point, there's suddenly like 20 people in front of me, and now I have to stand in line again in the freezing cold. And they keep on telling you like you can't bring anything inside, you can't have things with pockets. So you're just standing there and waiting to come in. Because of the whole COVID thing, it takes a minute to get in the building. They check your temperature, they check your paperwork, all that. So then they're starting to pick up people and setting them in the rooms. And this lady with blue hair is picking up people, and I don't stand up because I don't want to go to her room, because I did watch a couple of YouTube videos with girls saying how intimidating she was. Unfortunately, I was in her room and she told me to go to her room. At this point, I'm stressing because it is the day when I know that the state board will shut down, so I will not have a chance to retake that test. I'm placed with the examiner that I specifically was hoping not to get. They already gave me one warning about my phone, and we woke up like super early that day, and just like I have to remember so much for this test. So to be honest, I'm stressed at that point. And then I also have to be very close to her. Like my station is like pretty much next to hers. So not ideal spot. And we're starting to set up. I'm starting to put all of my stuff out, and she comes over to me and she says, "Stay in your area." And that freaks me out because I was trying to avoid like looking at her the whole time, because I've heard that she can make pretty bad faces that can distract you. So she tells me to stay in my area, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what does that mean? There's plenty of room between me and another student, way more than 6 feet. And the whole station is ginormous. So at that point, I feel kind of like paralyzed to even move my body to the left or to like move the doll head more times than I have to. I mean, of course I could, but it was just like really hard.